Hi, my name is Gavriel Sanders, and you're joining me tonight with many interesting and amazing guests at the Jewish Heritage Museum for the 29th annual dinner of the Aleh Foundation. If you've never heard of this group, you're going to have, as they say in the vernacular, your mind blown. This is more than an evening of information. It's an evening of transformation. You're going to meet professional people, significant people who've had a heart change about people, children in particular, that would otherwise have been discarded, neglected, shunted off to some obscure place, about parents who've suffered, who've been burdened, and all of a sudden that burden's been lifted because people have stepped in and followed a four-letter word called care. So tonight you're going to hear about people who have dared to care and have stepped up and made a great difference. So we'll get to all that right after these important words from our wonderful sponsors. We'll be right back.
If you have diabetes and love food, pay attention to this free offer.
Hi, I'm Nicole Johnson, Miss America 1999. I've had diabetes since 1993, and I hate boring food. Well, I got these 3 free cookbooks with fantastic tasting recipes for people with diabetes. If you have diabetes and have Medicare, you can get these cookbooks free.
Call now to qualify for not 1, not 2, but 3 free cookbooks. Call 1-800-753-6314.
You'll love this rich chocolate cake, oven-fried chicken, and nachos. You'll also get this free meal planning guide and diabetes magazine. So call now for your free Better Care Kit with 3 free cookbooks.
To qualify, call 1-800-753-6314. That's 1-800-753-6314.
An important alert for people using the drug Avandia. The diabetes drug Avandia has been linked to serious heart-related injury and even death. If you or a loved one used Avandia and suffered a heart attack, heart failure, stroke, or heart-related death, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation.
Call 1-800-460-5950.
Recent congressional reports and FDA studies have found an increased risk of heart attacks and heart failure in patients using the drug Avandia. Time to file a claim is limited.
Call 1-800-460-5950.
Holly's discovered a secret that could help thousands of other catheter users.
For years, I never realized how different catheter supplies really were. Liberator contacted my doctor and made arrangements for me to try catheters that were easier to use, much more comfortable, all for free. And they helped me qualify for a new sterile catheter every time I needed one. No more reusing. The minute you make the phone call, you're going to see the difference.
Call 1-800-627-2821.
Shalom Aleichem. My name is Gavriel Sanders. I'm here tonight in place of Zev Brenner, who is normally here from Talkline Communications, and I'll be your host, helping you through this evening. I have to tell you, you are in for the most incredible evening. This is so far beyond information. It's all about transformation. So while the food is good, and the drink is good, what's going to happen inside your heart, I don't know. You might need to consult, chas v'shalom, your cardiologist about how the good things that are going on in there. So again, kindly ask the persons around your table, hey, listen to that funny guy up there, all right? I'll wait.
Are you in business, a store owner, wholesaler, or manufacturer? Do you know you may be eligible for free television and radio advertising? Millions of dollars are lost every year by businesses not taking advantage of free radio and television advertising. Don't lose out. Advertising is the lifeline of any business, large or small. For free consultation, call us in the New York area 212-769-1925. Out of New York, 866-MY-TV Show.
Kosher Expeditions operates year-round tours with delicious glatt kosher cuisine cooked fresh on site to over 30 of the world's most exotic destinations. Relax at our 7-year-running Passover holiday adventure at our Kosher Le Pesach luxury beachside resort in Costa Rica. Breathtaking ocean views, exotic wildlife, inspiring lectures, children's programming, and exciting Costa Rican adventure tours during Chol Hamoed. Come tour with the most established kosher tour operator since 1994. Call Kosher Expeditions at 877-JT-KOSHER, kosherexpeditions.com, the source for exciting worldwide kosher adventure.
We're speaking tonight with Malki Londner. She is a computer systems analyst, a technologist, you could say, as well as an investment banker, and she has a fascinating educational background. What are the highlights of your educational background, by the way?
Started out in Beis Yaakov. My father was a Gerei Chassid, so I did all the Beis Yaakov, whatever we do, and it's very firm and religious, and it's wonderful. But my father, the Chassid, decided that I should possibly go to college. He thought that that was the right thing for me. He looked around at what my accomplishments were and said, I'm going to college. So I ended up having to catch up with the other girls in my world, and it worked. I went to a more modern high school, a more modern college. In fact, the Yeshiva University system, Stern College for Women. I graduated. I started as a teacher. Back then, everyone was supposed to be a teacher. We were all wonderful mothers and going to be teachers until the children came along and during. But somehow it didn't quite work for me. I wanted to go back to school and find something else to do. So I went back and learned computer technology and financial, everything to do with finance, business and finance. So that combined for a career that intertwined computers and investment banking.
Which shows that it's never too late to learn something new and to make a difference, right?
I took a time out. I did teaching, and one day I said, I'm not doing it anymore. It's just not working out for me.
And speaking of making a difference, what is it about the Aleh Foundation that found a special place in your heart?
I visited one of the groups in Israel and saw how beautifully and wonderfully they treat the children. These are children who are helpless otherwise. I saw the colorful, the bright colors, the volunteers who were there, who were giving their heart and soul for everything. And the children were thriving. I couldn't believe it. I just kept looking around. It was a mystery when I first started, but then I realized that this is something special. You don't find this everywhere, and Aleh had it. I decided to join, get to know the people better, and I'm back.
And how long has your affiliation been with Aleh?
Oh, it's got to be 15 years at least, if not more. Could be close to 20 by now.
All right, and since they've been around, this is their 29th year. You've been with them at least half or 2/3 of the way.
Yes.
All right, Malki Londner, thank you so very much for being part of this.
Donated a wing in honor of one of my relatives who passed away to one of the Aleh groups in Israel, and I can't wait to see it. I haven't been there yet to see it. So I feel wonderful that I've donated equipment and beds, wing, and you name it. It's the most wonderful feeling to know that you're helping helpless children in ways that they can't be helped otherwise.
So here's a great example of someone who came from a background similar to so many of our viewers and who had the courage to walk a path to make a difference. And that's what this is all about. Thank you so very much.
You're very welcome.
See you next year.
Mitzvah Shep.
We've caught up with Israel Jacobowitz. He is the Physician of the Year awardee here tonight at the Aleh Foundation dinner. And he's a great friend of the foundation. But first of all, Doctor, welcome. And I'd like to ask you, what's your specialty and where did you learn it?
I'm a heart surgeon, and I trained at New York University Medical Center. Finished my training in 1980. Stayed on at NYU and St. Vincent's for a couple of years, and then in 1982 came to Maimonides Medical Center. And I've basically been there most of the last 31 years.
Practicing only or also teaching?
Practice. We teach residents, students, do both.
And I'm interested in, you were connected to, you became introduced to the Aleh Foundation through an interesting personality. Who was that, how was that, and how did it affect you?
Yeah, well, I got introduced by Howard Feldman. Howard was one of the guest of honors a few years ago, and I came to the event. And I think it's a wonderful thing that Aleh Foundation is doing. So I started attending the events and giving some support. And when they asked me to, if I was willing to participate this year, I said, it was my pleasure.
Well, we're really glad that you did. And have you had any influence amongst your network of friends about this particular group?
Well, I think we've gotten some support. I think one of my major reasons I get involved in these sort of things is to have my children and grandchildren understand that this is something you have to do, and if you have the good fortune to be able to, you have an obligation. So I actually was very taken with the child who had his bar mitzvah in Israel with another one, and I think I'm going to suggest that to my daughter for my next grandson's bar mitzvah.
Excellent. Dr. Israel Jacobowitz, thank you so much. We honor you for being honored tonight, and thanks for all your support to the Aleh Foundation. All the best. Kol tov. We have caught up now with Esther Beck. She's an attorney here in the city of New York, also in Israel, and she has some fascinating things to share about her own background and what her own connection is to the Aleh Foundation and the difference it can make for you. So we're going to cover a lot of ground here in a short amount of time. Esther, welcome very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
So tell us, first of all, just a little about your own legal background.
Well, I started my legal background 30 years ago when I was working as a assistant DA of Tel Aviv. And then I came here to work for 1 year, but I stayed for a long time because it took a long time to learn American law.
It's a little complicated, I suppose.
But lately, in the last 10 years, actually, I started to work as a lawyer for some charitable organizations. One of them was a B'nai Zion organization. They have a hospital in Israel. They have an organization called Ahava. And lately, I'm doing also planned giving as an attorney. I'm preparing wills for people. The way it started because some of my clients said they love Israel, they want to support Israel and what Israel does, and the Jewish organizations especially, but not only Jewish organizations. I started to show them what kind of organizations there are because they wanted me to, I told them, look in Google and you tell me where to invest, but say, no, you tell me what you think. So Aleh, I ran into Rabbi Braun and his lovely wife, Hannah, and they are doing so much, and they are just very, very warm and very convincing and building a lot. So now I'd like to say that I support charities in Israel and the United States, and as a lawyer, I kind of direct or instruct or guide people, and I would guide them to Aleh because it's a very good organization.
Now, you mentioned to me off camera before that there are a lot of benefits for people, not just after the fact, but even now in the realm of charitable giving. Is that correct?
Oh, absolutely. Because, I'm not so much of a number financing person, but I know that people can donate their stocks that they appreciate, or they can donate homes or just amount of money, and actually they can get a percentage, even 5-6%, and then the remainder of the estate is allocated to their beneficiaries. So actually the benefit is great from all points of view, financially and from also humanitarian. Makes people feel good.
So I think some people might want to know more about this. We didn't intend to make this a commercial, but hey, why not? So if someone wants to reach out to you and find out more about helping organizations, specifically Aleh Foundation, of course, how do they do that?
Well, I'll give you my email, which is very easy to remember. As I'm an attorney, it's spelled attorneybeck@gmail.com. And attorney is completely spelled out. ATTORNEYBECK.
All right, Esther Beck, attorney at law and attorney at love when it comes to this organization. Thank you very much for being with us tonight.
Me, and good luck to you.
Kol tov, all the best.
Bye.
Are you stressed over credit cards and other debts? Maybe through no fault of your own? Imagine how it would feel to have that weight lifted right off your shoulders. Well, here's some good news from America's trusted name in debt relief. Care One providers have already helped over 4.5 million people in debt, and we can help you today. Just call this toll-free number to speak with a friendly representative, and in just minutes, you'll get your free debt relief analysis.
Just call the toll-free number today.
I've been on a lot of TV shows, but one of my favorites is Zev Brenner on Talkline. I love this show I love this network. I love talking about my books, my activities with Zev Brenner. Good questions, good listeners, always get a good response.
Talkline now on throughout the metro area on WRNN Channel 62, Sunday nights at 11 p.m. and Fridays at 1 p.m. For other times, please check your local cable guide or call 1-866-MY-TV-SHOW.
Do you take prescription medications? Are you spending money for them every month? Do you want them for free? Call the free prescription hotline to qualify for free brand name prescriptions and medical supplies. If you are insured, uninsured, or a Medicare beneficiary, your brand name prescriptions could be free. Call the free prescription hotline to see if you're eligible for the new programs and receive your brand name medications free.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jason Buchwald, Medical Director of the Free Prescription Hotline. We can now offer the 2010 expanded programs for free prescription medications. So many people do not take advantage of the benefits they're entitled to because they don't call. When you call the free prescription hotline, you'll find out if your medications and medical supplies could be free.
Call now. All callers will receive a free prescription savings card. Don't miss the deadline. Call the free prescription hotline now.
Call 1-800-603-7920. That's 1-800-603-7920.
There are so many fascinating personalities here tonight at the Aleh Foundation dinner. And we've stumbled across former New York Supreme Court Justice for the state of New York, of course, Lorraine Miller. Lorraine, thank you for coming.
It's my pleasure. This is such an exciting institution.
Now, how long did you serve on the New York State Supreme Court?
Well, I started 26 years ago. And I started in the housing court. But then I was elected over a series of years, and I was in the Supreme Court for about 14 years. I'm still working with the court, however. I don't know what retirement is.
So I'm going to retract what I just said about former. She's been there, and she's still there. So I understand, speaking of being there, I understand that you actually made the trip to Bnei Brak and you saw firsthand what's happening with Aleh Foundation there. What were your impressions? What did you see? And how did it affect you?
It was such an exciting event, such an exciting place. Not only Bnei Brak, but also Jerusalem and Gadara. I never can pronounce it right. I did not get to the one down in the desert. But when I saw these marvelous facilities, first of all, physically, and also the care that each child got on a one-by-one basis. Each one had a bubba, like a grandmother, looking after them. And instead of it being, melancholy, the colors, the schemes, the white cribs were so exciting. And another thing about Aleh, the children are not out in the boondocks somewhere. They're right where in the community where relatives can see them. And that's something, unfortunately, we don't have here. I keep asking Rabbi Braun, when are you going to do it here? We need it here, too.
Now, I understand that Aleh in Israel has been a world-class role model to other countries. Is that correct?
Yes, indeed. And unfortunately, we have so many facilities here, but they don't compare with Aleh. I went to Bnei Brak, was my first trip, because our borough president in Brooklyn, Howard Golden, was instrumental, and he said to me, hey, you want to see something? That's the way how he talks. You want to see something? Go over to Bnei Brak. And I did. Another thing about it that I keep telling people is the instruction that these poor little kids get. There's special toys made for them, special equipment that they can indicate, and they're better on computers than I am. I think that's marvelous. All the people that are here tonight, I hope they realize the good deeds that they do, because it's such a mitzvah.
It's very clear to me that the fire inspired by those children burns very strongly in your heart, though you were there and now you're here.
Well, absolutely. And I've known Rabbi Braun, who started this, even before he got involved. He was in, when I ran for election, he was like my brother. He helped me so much that when he left Kojo in Borough Park and got active getting this underway, I said I got to do to help whatever I can. He's one in a million, very understated, but a very special man.
Well, and he's inspired specialness in everybody that he encounters, including you.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
My pleasure. We've been talking with Supreme Court Justice Lorraine Miller. Thank you so much for all you do for Aleh.
Thank you.
הקטע הזה בעברית קצת. This little segment is in Hebrew. We've met up with Menashe Dror, and he's a diamond dealer. כן, נכון? סוכן יהלומים?
כן, כן.
וזאת פעם הראשונה שאתה נמצא פה בערב הזה, נכון?
כן, אני לא ידעתי על הארגון הזה. אני באתי כאן לכבוד החבר שלי, רפי בוזיילוב, שמכבדים אותו הערב. אני באתי בהזמנה, שקראתי על ההזמנה שזה תומך למוגבלים יהודים בישראל. שמחתי שאני משתתף בטקס הזה, ואני מאוד שמח שאנשים אחרים גם יתמכו בארגון הזה. כך ששמעתי, הארגון עוזר לאנשים מוגבלים, ילדים מוגבלים, משחרר את המשפחות שיוכלו ללכת לעבוד, וגם תומך מבחינה גם כספית, גם רוחנית, גם גשמית, גם רפואית לילדים מוגבלים מאוד.
אז אתה דוגמה מצוינת של מישהו שמושפע על ידי אלה שמושפעים כבר על ידי הארגון הזה, נכון?
כן, בהחלט. אני בלי נדר, אם אני אוכל בעצמי בשנים הבאות גם לעזור, אני אעזור, ואני גם מבקש מאנשים אחרים שיוכלו לעזור לארגון הזה.
אז אני
התרשמתי מאנשים שמארגנים את המאורע, והאנשים שתומכים בארגון הזה, ואנשים שעובדים ומשקיעים מאמצים רבים כדי לעזור למוגבלים.
אז אתה כבר גנבת את כל המילים שלי מפי, ואז אני מברך אותך שאתה תמשיך ושאתה תהיה מאוד מצליח בעבודה שלך, בכדי שאתה יכול לעזור לאנשים להצליח גם כן.
תודה, יישר כוח וכל טוב לכולם.
כל טוב. Okay, thank you so much, Menashe Dror. One of the most delightful people that I could introduce to you tonight is Rabbi Gershon Tannenbaum. He's the spiritual leader of the Bnei Yisrael congregation in Linden Heights, which happens to be in Borough Park, if you're not sure where Linden Heights are. I'm not sure that there are many heights there, but he's definitely there, and he's one of the high spots of it. We had the zchut together and the sobering, serious experience to be in 2005 with Dov Heikind and a group of 125 people in the now temporarily deceased Gush Katif. So I'm very excited that you're here tonight, Rabbi. And you've been a long-standing friend of Aleh Foundation, yes?
Yes, go back to the very beginning. It's interesting, 29 years ago when Rabbi Braun began, this was a service in Israel, literally for 15, 20 children, and it was in a basement. And through a lot of hard effort, internationally, and through Rabbi Braun's guidance, it became a major institution. Not only that, but it's a leader in services for the severely disabled. And it has a sister organization, the Kennedy Foundation for Children, and many other where they exchange doctors and specialists, and they developed their own new methods of how to work with children. And it's very sobering because some children which were considered hopeless are now producing, they're productive. So much so that the JNF established a whole city in the Negev just for these children, because some of the children are productive, they can help as well. And this is amazing. I mean, this is totally amazing. And I remember when Rabbi Braun began, it wasn't, we couldn't dream of this, but he had hope, he was serious, and he pushed, and he brought it along, and he brought it up, and here we are.
It's amazing, and it's very exciting that the Rabbi Gershon Tannenbaum has had the opportunity to shadow this and also to help and promote. You've been to some of the institutions there, correct?
Of course. I've been, and it makes you cry. But if you pay attention and understand the services that are given and the improvements that are being made, it's actually something to be very happy about. It's a joy to see children playing with with pets. It's interaction. They're socially interactive, which would have been impossible before, but now they are. So if you look at from where they began, from where they're coming from, it's happiness, and it's happy for the attendants, the volunteers, for the parents, and even for the children themselves.
And we're talking about children that would otherwise have been neglected, forgotten. Their life expectancy would have been much shorter than it could be now. And I understand, if I read this correctly, that the work that Aleh Foundation is doing is not only thriving in Israel, but creating, precedent-setting opportunities in other countries. Is that correct?
Absolutely. And as I mentioned, the doctoral exchanges with organizations such as the Kennedy Foundation, that's opening, it's ice-breaking. It's impossible to describe here in a word or two, but they're learning from other institutions, and they're teaching other institutions what to do, how to do it, and what to expect. And we don't know yet the ramifications of all this, but this is tremendous. A generation down the road, 2 generations down the road, these children today that we consider hopeless might become productive members of society because of the work that Aleh Foundation is doing. It's an amazing thing.
I can tell by the very vibrant twinkle in the eyes of Rabbi Gershon Tannenbaum that something has really enriched your life through all of this.
Very much so, and it's tremendous satisfaction. I remember Rabbi Braun was fundraising, and he was talking about a wheelchair. Now, to me, what's a wheelchair is a wheelchair. But no, the wheelchair had to be adapted for the child. It had to be custom made. It was expensive. He fought for it. He fought for the money. But once a child is in a personalized wheelchair, that child can operate, can maneuver. It's an amazing thing. Where before this child had to be moved around, now the child can move themselves. It's an amazing thing. And again, the ramifications of this is unlimited. Where, especially today where everything is computers and internet and so on, these children could be very productive citizens. And they could very well become assets of society. And all because of the work, the foundations that were laid down here.
So I promised you at the beginning of the program that this is more than just information. This is transformation. This is inspiration. And you've just gotten a fair dose of it from Rabbi Gershon Tannenbaum. My many thanks for your long-standing support. May we have the schus together to make a difference.
We look very much forward to it, and thank you.
Go to.
If you've ever considered hosting your own radio or TV show, then we can help you. Talkline Communications works with individuals and groups interested in broadcasting on radio and TV. Ideal for lawyers, doctors, financial advisors, organizations, or anyone interested in broadcasting. Talkline works with various TV and radio stations in New York and around the country that lease airtime at competitive rates so we can pass on that savings to you. For more information, call us at 212-769-1925. That's 212-769-1925.
This is the Jewish Basketball Hall of Fame. The most complete action-filled history ever of the legendary Jewish basketball players of the 20th century. This video library is comprised of rare, vintage action footage of every player. Here are the Jewish stars and superstars of basketball in all their glory, in their prime, all together for the first time anywhere. There has never been anything like this before. The Jewish Basketball Hall of Fame brings to life an elite Jewish sports tradition filled with Jewish pride. Here they are, the Jewish basketball stars and superstars who, until now, have only lived in nostalgic memory.
I've
been making credit card payments for years, but the balance never seems to go down.
Well, no matter how high your debts are, at Jordan McKenna, we're not here to judge you. We're here to help you. We'll match you with a reputable law firm who will negotiate and reduce your credit card balances. Stop those harassing collection calls. They'll even design an affordable monthly payment plan that fits your budget. You could save thousands of dollars. Call Jordan McKenna right now for a no-obligation consultation. It's that easy.
Call today, 888-685-1433.
Kosher Expeditions operates year-round tours with delicious glatt kosher cuisine cooked fresh on site to over 30 of the world's most exotic destinations. Relax at our 7-year running Passover holiday adventure at our Kosher LePesach luxury beachside resort in Costa Rica. Breathtaking ocean views, exotic wildlife, inspiring lectures, children's programming, and exciting Costa Rican adventure tours during Chol Hamoed. Come tour with the most established kosher tour operator since 1994. Call Kosher Expeditions at 877-JT-KOSHER, kosherexpeditions.com, the source for exciting worldwide kosher adventure.
Aleh, where we look beyond the disability to the child.
My name is Rabbi Shlomo Braun. I'm the founder and director of the Aleh Foundation, and I thank you all for coming here this evening. I have a very easy and pleasant task to introduce a sincere, outstanding friend.
This is definitely a wide-angle view. There are so many medical personalities that are here tonight. Among them is one who's receiving the Medical Leadership Award. His name is Dr. Stephen Pavlakis. And beyond that, he's a relative newcomer to the Aleh Foundation family. And I wanted him to talk about that a little bit with you. First of all, Dr. Pavlakis, welcome. Congratulations on your award. And why are you here?
Well, I was approached, and by people that I knew, some of the rabbis that I knew, and who I like and respect. And I had heard about the Aleh Foundation, but didn't really know lots about it. So once I was approached, I looked into it. I asked a lot of my colleagues about it, and everyone to a fault, everyone entirely said that this is a very good organization that does good works and is effective in their goals and their vision and the mission. So it was very hard for me to say no to that, and I was on board to help.
Now, if I understand correctly, your specialty in medicine is pediatric neurology, is that correct?
That's correct, and what we do is, a large measure of what we do is dealing with people, children mostly, but also adults with neurodevelopmental disabilities, special needs, cerebral palsy, and so a large part of my work over my lifetime has actually been related to, with overlap, things that the Aleh Foundation works on.
Right, I was going to say, the when you heard about the sort of the job description or the daily readout of activity that this organization does, it must have really resonated with what you do on a day-to-day basis.
Sure, it seemed like a natural thing to be involved with because it's really what we do. Probably half of what we do is related to such factors.
Now, you yourself have not yet been to Israel to see what they're doing, is that correct?
That's correct. I've not.
Now, I was speaking to Rabbi Gershon Tannenbaum. He talked a little bit about the precedent-setting nature of what Aleh is doing. Do you think there's something to learn from there that could be applied to here?
Yes, and I think that's an excellent question. There's always, as we grow, there's always something to learn from every experience. And since this is such an accomplished organization, I think this is the kind of thing that can be expanded to other countries and other places. And I think that's an excellent question and should be looked at.
So this is your 15 seconds of fame. People are watching who've never heard about this organization before, or who may have heard something, but they've never gotten involved. If you had 15 seconds to tell them, hey, get on board, what would you say?
Well, I think this is a very important part of our population, to take care of people with special needs, to encourage them to maximize their functioning, to help people that that can't do it themselves. So I think this is a very important part of what we do as humans and as people with whatever culture or country we're in.
All right, Dr. Stephen Pavlakis, a big welcome to you. Thank you for being part of this.
Pleasure.
And enjoy your evening. Have a great time.
Thank you, sir.
We mentioned that there are a lot of medical people here tonight, but many other professions and aspects of our community as well. This is Mr. Ben-Gurion Matzes. He's the father of Stephen Matzes, who's receiving an award tonight. He's also the publisher and general editor of a magazine that most of you know about called Image, Jewish Image Magazine. Welcome, and thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you. Welcome, and thank you for being here.
Now, your relationship with the Aleh Foundation goes back how far?
About over 10 years. We know Mr. Dr. Rabbi Braun, and we're supporting the foundation, and we know for many years.
Now, your magazine is a unique magazine. If you were to describe it, what we call the elevator speech, how would you describe Jewish Image Magazine?
Jewish Magazine is started originally specific for the Sephardi community of Brooklyn, and of course spread around in all Brooklyn, New York, and New Jersey, and Florida. But our core readership still is in the Sephardi community of Brooklyn.
So the articles that you have and the emphasis you have, the spotlight that you focus on things are pretty much from a Sephardi perspective. Is that correct?
Yes, most of the articles and the interviews and the community news about the Sephardi community, and we're the only magazine that pay attention to the Sephardi community, because there's so many other magazines and publications for the Ashkenaz community.
Sure. 100%. I want to circle back to the Aleh Foundation for a moment. You said you have a 10-year relationship with Aleh. How has it affected you?
First of all, we write a lot of articles about the Aleh Foundation year after year. We inform our community about their activities, about their good work that they're doing. And through the years, we see that a lot of people like to help and participate in basically help this good organization.
Well, I know it could not happen without people in the media like you and your son Stephen, and the conviction and the commitment that you made behind it. So I want to thank you on behalf of Aleh Foundation, this amazing organization, for doing what you can to lift up their profile and to make our listeners, our viewers, our readers to collectively all about that. And by the way, if somebody has never read your magazine yet, can they get a copy to look at?
Yes, a magazine distributed for free in Brooklyn, New York. And they can go also to our website, imageusa.com. They can read the whole magazine online if they're from far away, and they can send us even their name and address, so we can send them magazine for free.
That's a pretty good offer. All right, we've been talking with Ben-Gurion Matzes. His son Stephen is getting an award tonight. You'll see that later. Thank you so very much for being with us. Kol Tuv. We just spoke with Ben-Gurion Matzes, and that's the father of Stephen Matzes, who's receiving the Young Leadership Award tonight here at the Aleh Foundation 29th annual dinner. So, Stephen, first of all, Mazel Tov on your award, and you're the editor general now,
managing editor of Image Magazine.
But you didn't start out at the top. You worked your way up, right?
All the way from the bottom, taking out garbage all the way to the top.
But didn't your father start the magazine?
We all started as a family business about 20 years ago. I started out in sales. I moved up to sales manager. Then I work in production, and I became a production manager. And now I'm the managing editor, and I deal with the day-to-day of all the office from top to bottom.
So the magazine, I've watched it over the last few years. It's grown, it's diversified, it's interesting, it's compelling, it's got some great content, and you also showcase aspects of the Aleh Foundation from time to time. Is that right?
That's correct. They are a wonderful organization. They do wonderful things with special children in Israel, and we work together with Aleh Foundation to promote Aleh Foundation amongst the Jews of the Sephardic community and amongst the Sephardic community at large, where all our magazine reaches, to help promote them and help special kids in Israel, special education kids in Israel.
Well, I'm really excited for you getting this award. You've worked very hard for it. Thank you so much for what you do for this organization, and Mazel Tov.
Thank you so much, and have a good evening.
Kol Tov.
Are you in business, a store owner, wholesaler, or manufacturer? Do you know you may be eligible for free television and radio advertising? Millions of dollars are lost every year by businesses not taking advantage of free radio and television advertising. Don't lose out. Advertising is the lifeline of any business, large or small. For free consultation, call us in the New York area, 212-769-1925. Out of New York, 866 My TV Show.
If you have diabetes and love food, pay attention to this free offer.
Hi, I'm Nicole Johnson, Miss America 1999. I've had diabetes since 1993, and I hate boring food. Well, I got these 3 free cookbooks with fantastic tasting recipes for people with diabetes. If you have diabetes and have Medicare, you can get these cookbooks free.
Call now to qualify for not 1, not 2, but 3 free cookbooks. Call 1-800-753-6314.
You'll love this rich chocolate cake, oven-fried chicken, and nachos. You'll also get this free meal planning guide and diabetes magazine. So call now for your free Better Care Kit with 3 free cookbooks.
To qualify, call 1-800-753-6314. That's 1-800-753-6314.
An important alert for people using the drug Avandia. The diabetes drug Avandia has been linked to serious heart-related injury and even death. If you or a loved one used Avandia and suffered a heart attack, heart failure, stroke, or heart-related death, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation.
Call 1-800-460-5950.
Recent congressional reports and FDA studies have found an increased risk of heart attacks and heart failure in patients using the drug Avandia. Time to file a claim is limited.
Call 1-800-460-5950.
So many fascinating people that we've spoken to this evening, and one of our very significant honorees is Jack and his wife, Violet Harunian, from Iran. An amazing couple with an amazing story. We could do a whole evening just about their lives, how they started, what they grew to, and the ripple effect that their lives have had. It's been amazing. So Jack, on behalf of you and your wife, Mazel Tov on your honor tonight.
Thank you, sir. It's a pleasure to be here with you. We have started our work when the State of Israel established. I was 20 years old. At that time, I was in the faculty of war, and to become an officer of Muhammad Reza Shah Pahlavi. At that time, I take the note and sent to Israel. At that time, there was no other organizations. Mm-hmm. Since we traveled to Israel over 100 times, the first one was our honeymoon. Mm. Over 50 years ago.
1957, I think, yeah?
Correct. And since then, we try to help Israel, but we don't know how to use it, how to step forward. At last, we have decided to help to upgrade the quality of the health, which I have been over 26 years as a member of the Sha'arei Tzedek Medical Center, Board of Governors. And since then, Mr. Olmert, which is one of my best friends, he forced me, he requested me, he offered me to help Aleh Foundation, which is a very good organization. It's almost 12 years that I'm helping this organization from all over the world. The people who are tonight here is just part of them. If this celebration was in Great Neck area, I should have had over 1,000 people, which I had it before. Still, I request you and all other people to ask Hashem
to ask God to give me more time, more life with the health and energy in order to continue this task. That's all I want to tell you. Otherwise, I have already dedicated myself and my wife over 26 years with all the non-profit organization in Israel. That's our self-satisfaction, and we are happy and we are proud of the state of Israel.
Amen. Now, tonight you announced to the assembled crowd that you are doing something special this year for the Aleh Foundation. What is it?
I donate another physiotherapy room in Aleh, Bnei Brak. And I have some other people that they have promised me as soon as the building is finished, they come with me, they select some other section to make a big donations.
So we're going to do right now the last segment of this program, and I want you to be part of that final closing word with me right now. So, ladies and gentlemen, you've heard what Mr. Jack Harunian has said on behalf of himself and his wife Violette. Their dedication is very obvious. Their, as we talked about earlier, their ripple effect is very significant, of course. And there is an opportunity that all of us can step up to the plate to share in, whether large or small. There's a new $18 million building that is needed to be erected in Bnei Brak to expand the services, the facilities and the services that are offered by Aleh Foundation there in Bnei Brak. They're also in Gedera, Yerushalayim, and down in the Negev area. So 13 million, Baruch Hashem, 13 million of 18 has been raised already. Another 5 is needed. Now, there are people watching who could write that check themselves. But what if you, even if it were $10, $15, $25, $50, whatever, it doesn't matter. What if you had a part in the erection of that building, and that you had a part in making a difference in the lives of these children, that if you don't help, they won't be helped. If you don't, it won't. So, Jack, I'm going to ask you to tell these good people watching right now what you think they should do.
It is not the matter of that building. Let me make it short. The state of Israel doesn't exist without our help. As I mentioned before, we are building the state of Israel. We are not building on Aleh or Sha'arei Tzedek. And the most significant one is that we have to help Israel Bond too in order to build the whole country. That's my idea.
Good.
God
Excellent.
bless you. God bless all the people who has helped us at past and the future.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Jack. Hold with me just a moment. So, coming to you tonight from the Jewish Heritage Museum here in the south of Manhattan, the very tip, looking towards the Statue of Liberty, Ellis Island, where so many of our people came through and found a new life in this land. We thank you from the bottom of our hearts. There was a great crowd of over 350, Baruch Hashem, gathered here tonight. The largest gathering last year was about 200, so you can do the math yourself.
I believe it was over 400.
It was a big crowd.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was great. It was 100 times better than last year.
Right.
God bless them all.
Amen. Amen. So thank you for watching, and more importantly, thanks for making a difference. So the events of this evening at the Jewish Heritage Museum have really come about because of what's called in Hebrew the yozma, the initiative of the man that I'm standing next to now, Rabbi Shlomo Braun. For 29 years, he's been in the trenches with a lot of amazing people to make the Aleh Foundation go up. You know, Aleh stands for what they call the Rashi Tevot. The letters, the Ayin, the Lamed, and the Hey, stand for Ezer Leyeled Nache, aid or assistance for children that have disabilities. And it's thousands and thousands of them through the years, isn't it?
Yes. And the way it started is that a group of parents who decided they no longer want to deal with the stigma in the Jewish community and do something positive. And they went ahead and they formed a group. And while they only had 5 children, within a couple of days, it doubled and tripled. And from there on, it became a first center in Bnei Brak, then another center in Jerusalem, then in Gedera, and now there is an entire village in the Negev. And we successfully raised a couple $100,000 tonight to assist in completing the current education building that we're doing in Bnei Brak, which is called the Pardes School Center. And due to committed friends that we have developed in the past 29 years, we had a very successful event. About 400 people attended, and we are very grateful to them. If not for them, this could not have come about. And we already identified a few more who are interested in being involved and being honorees for our next year event, which is going to be at a larger facility and hopefully double the crowd that we had tonight.
Well, this was a really packed house, a really, I guess what they would call in the Yiddish vernacular, lebendig kind of an evening. People were excited to be here. They were excited to be together here, clustered around this common theme of helping not just kids with problems, but kids with severe problems. Can you describe some of those?
Yes. My background is social work. And before I went to see the children in Aleh, I had met with a lot of problems from different people, but I've never seen such severe brain damage children. One point, while I was there the first time, the half an hour that I was there, a mother walked in with a 14-year-old child who weighed about 30 pounds. And she laid him down on a mattress on the floor because at that time it was so primitive at the center that they didn't even have any cribs or beds for the children. So it was only mattresses on the floor. And they told me the story that the woman brings the child simply because the house that she lives in, there is a lot of children. And her own 8 children don't want that the neighbors should be aware that they have such a severely brain damaged child. So after all the children leave to school, she brings with her own car the child to the Aleh Center because she's the breadwinner in the house since her husband was injured while he was doing miluim in the army in Israel. So therefore, when she goes to work, she drops off the child in Aleh. When she comes home from work, she picks up the child in order the neighbors' children shouldn't realize that they have such a severely brain damaged child. That is a major accomplishment that Aleh has succeeded in dissolving the stigma problem, and because of Aleh, many other successful organizations who deal with disabled children have been able to succeed successfully and relieve much of the problems in society. While Aleh has not addressed all the children, and there is a waiting list for children to get into the Aleh centers, it is friends like we had here tonight that will ultimately make it available to many more children to be able to be serviced by our centers.
Let's give our audience a sense of perspective on what we're talking about. You mentioned that there are 4 centers in Gedera, Bnei Brak, Yerushalayim, and down the Negev. There's some expansion happening in Bnei Brak. We are talking a little bit more about that at the conclusion of the program. But how many children are being served now? How many people? I guess there's young adults also there now. They've grown up. And because it's been 29 years. And then I want to talk about the scope, the number, and then if we could talk also about, there's a lot of volunteerism in your organization.
The amount of children and young adults that live in the 4 centers right now is about 700. The services that are being provided for outpatient is about 12,000 children in the course of the year that come in on a daily or sometimes a couple of times a week for therapeutic services. The volunteerism is something unusual. For example, I had the former borough president from Brooklyn visit with a group of business people many years ago, and they saw and they were told that in Bnei Brak alone, there's about 400 volunteers on a weekly basis coming by the center to help out to the professional people. So that was something that they were so amazed that no other place in the world has something like that. And the Bnei Brak Center also has their own equipment production in the facilities basement, which each child has to have different equipment for the daytime, for the nighttime. A piece of equipment can sometimes take up to 6 months to build because the child is being measured every couple of days, different positions. And that is two of the major things that whenever professionals or elected officials from any other country have come to visit and to see, they were amazed and they could not ever duplicate such kind of volunteerism and the type of production of merchandise within their own center.
That's amazing. So I want to bring this segment to a close, but we mentioned volunteerism. Obviously, it takes a huge amount of money to run this. Does Rabbi Braun have an estimate of the annual budget to run all this right now?
I have no estimate because right now I can't begin concentrating on the deficit that Aleh in all the centers encounter in the course of the year, because we have offices in other parts of the world, in Switzerland, in England, in Canada, in South America, and they concentrate on those issues. We only concentrate right now on getting the $5 million that we are short in finalizing the current education center that is being built in Pardes Ketz. And I appeal to all who are listening to this program, please get involved. We have an office that is functioning 5 days a week, 52 weeks a year, 718-851-4596. It's also a 1-800 number, 317-ALEH, A-L-E-H. I repeat, it's 718 number, 851-4596 or 800-317-ALEH. Please call us, get involved, give us the strength and the support that we need, and together we will only succeed.
You may not be able to shoulder a $5 million check, though some can, or $500,000, or even $50,000, or $5,000. But what if 5,000 of our watchers all stepped up to the plate with, I don't know, $10, $20? Find the money and do something for those who can never say thank you to you personally, but you know the real bank account that goes into, the one that lasts forever. That's the difference. Rabbi, would you give the 800 number one more time? And I want you, please, make the call now to make the difference that only you can. You say, it's only $10, $20. You know what? It's $10 or $20 more than they had before you called. So get on the phone, go to your phone right now. Here is the number. Look at it at the bottom of your screen. Once again, Rabbi, it is
800-317-ALEH, A-L-E-H.
Rabbi Shlomo Braun, 29 years doing this work. Bracha v'atzlacha b'chol ma'asechem. May Hashem give you a long, long life and many, many friends who are blessed with great health, great wealth, great wisdom, and great happiness to make a difference.
Gavriel Sanders, you did a fantastic job. We enjoyed you, and people have expressed interest in seeing you again here.
Mitzvah Hashem. Thank you so much. Kol Tuv.